Hello, and welcome to the Catching the Octopus podcast. Here, we will explore how connecting inward gives us an advantage outward. We openly talk about the obstacles and challenges and difficulties that life throws our way and how they become moments of gratitude and things that can benefit us when we look back on our lives. I'm your host, Naomi Hurley, and it is my mission to bring you top quality guests that will share with you openly their obstacles and also the techniques they use to go inward that strengthens the way that they serve themselves and others at the highest level. Thank you for joining. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to this episode of Catching the Octopus podcast. Today we have a wonderful friend of mine. Her name is Dr. Kavitha Samuel. She's the founder of Bohdi Mind, and she's also a medical doctor and rapid transformational therapy practitioner. So short for that is RTT, which is something that I do as well, which is, I'm surprised I stumbled, but anyway, we're human, right? She also is a strong advocate for mental health and well-being and the holistic management of chronic illnesses. Her combination of in-depth medical knowledge and expertise in RTT provide her with a unique position to create and facilitate profound levels of growth and transformation through her personalized and customizable training programs at Workwell. So welcome. How are you today?
Hi, Naomi. I'm fine. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I love the concept and, well, I love working with you.
Yeah, I was just, it's funny how these things play out, right? So it's just a few messages. It's like in my head, ping,
Yeah.
oh, get Kavitha on, on your podcast. So I'm so glad you said yes. Thank you.
Yeah, and the world is getting much, much smaller. So I
Oh,
love that part of it too.
yeah. So for the listeners, Kavitha and I actually met through RTT. So we were both studying at the same time, and part of that training is being paired up with people to practice the techniques, and we were paired up together, right?
That's right. We did. We were paired up. We had our sessions and we just remained friends since.
Yeah, yeah, and I love that whole because I'm that overthinker, and there's oneness and all those sorts of things, and it's little things like that that really reaffirm that to me. Like, there's no way I
Yeah.
probably would have connected with you if it wasn't for that, but I feel like we were meant to connect.
That's right. And I think some of the best connections that we make are the connections that just they just occur by accident almost, but it's actually the universe bringing together people that can help you. And I love those connections the best.
Yeah, yeah, no, I totally agree. So I'm interested. So, this podcast is about leadership, and I know you have super strong leadership capabilities, and we actually have done a few little programs together before, which is just awesome. But you also you're also a doctor, and you've also worked in the medical field for 23 years. So what sort of prompted you to move into the space of going into, this other element of healing, not just the traditional medical tradition?
Well, medicine is my first passion. I've always loved it. And I don't, a part of me will always practice medicine, but there are limitations to the way that we practice medicine. I had my own clinic, general practice, in about 2015 to 2019. And I started to see a lot of patients with mental illness problems, basically, and they'd come with anxiety, depression, eating disorders, OCDs, and depression especially. But what happened was, so I'd counsel them and send them out to people who would actually be able to help them, who were trained to help them, but they
Yeah.
kept coming back and coming back again and again.
Yeah.
So that prompted me to start looking for something. And again, when you ask your questions differently, I ask the universe, hey, you've got to help me. They're coming to me. I need to help them, because it hurts when you send someone out and they're not getting the help that they need.
Yeah.
Right. So when they kept coming back, so I asked the universe, find me something.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, up comes RTT. And I was at the point where I was deciding whether I wanted to specialize in something. And it was either diabetology or basically RTT popped up. And I was like,
Hypnotherapy.
oh,
Yeah.
this, yeah, so this really fit at the moment, in that moment.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
decided, okay, that's what I'm going to do, and loved it. And, I mean, part of our training is we get sessions as well as giving sessions,
Mm,
right? And so when I speak, or when I help my patients, it's not just as a therapist, but a person who's gone through RTT and who
yes.
who has seen the benefits in my own life and in how it's changed me and made me so grounded and, opened the door to finding who I truly am. And I loved it. So my second passion is now RTT and
Yeah.
helping people transform their lives.
Mm.
So that's kind of how it transitioned.
Mm, I
Yeah.
well, I had a client this today, and afterwards, he opened his eyes and he goes, "That was different." And I go, "It's amazing, isn't it?" Because people just, they have this, I suppose, preconceived idea of what it's going to be like, and it's not anything like that. You're just sitting there, right? It doesn't feel any different to you, and you still have control over everything, but the profound change you can make at that deep subconscious level is just mind blowing, isn't it? Like,
Definitely. And
yeah.
I'm a very sciencey person. I grew up very science geeky. Like for me, if it wasn't science, I wouldn't be doing it, right?
Yeah.
So from that kind of a background, if you had told me 5 to 10 years ago, you're going to do hypnotherapy, you're going to be an RTT, I'd be like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Not in a million years.
Yeah.
Pigs could fly, and I would never be able to do that. But here I
Yeah.
am. So there was that transition from, that solid foundation. But what I find, why I like RTT and what I'm doing is the fact that it is based in science, it's based in neuroscience
Hmm.
and the way
Hmm.
that our mind works and the different parts of our mind. We're just using the information from your library, your subconscious mind, which stores everything, which has the origin stories of why you do what you do. And so I love that angle because I'm the kind of person that I need to get to the bottom of things. So
Yes.
this gets you to the root of it and it helps you uproot it. So that's what really called out to me. And I love the changes that we see in our clients. And that's what I do, basically. I love what I do.
I, I can really relate to that because my background, as you know, is HR and safety is about auditing and investigating. And then I did that psychology degree, which is all science. And the same, if someone had said to me, "Oh, you're going to be a hypnotherapist," I would have just laughed at them. And then the next level that I've done, so one of the practice sessions that someone was doing on me through the training, you know how you just catch up and you just refine your skills as part of the certification. So I was doing one, and I went back into a space that I believed was a past life. And
Mm,
that's not where my scope of mind has ever gone before. So I'm like, oh, there might be something in this. And I've done, grabbed a group of friends and worked on them. And yeah, and taking people back there. Now, even 2 years ago, if you had said to me, I would have gone to you,
mm.
"You're crazy," or "That chick's crazy." So it's amazing how, as we grow and we gather these new experiences, that alone can change our paradigm and shift the way we think, right?
Definitely, but I would say go in with as much skepticism or just be you. It's okay to not believe in stuff like this, but as you go in, because the whole key to life is understanding yourself, and
Mm,
everything that you are doing or I'm doing is helping a person understand themselves.
mm,
And some people understand themselves this way or in another way. So whatever resonates with you, but the whole point is to understand yourself and be open to the fact that there's so much out there that we do not understand. And
yes.
just because we don't understand it, it does not mean it doesn't exist.
Yeah. Yes, so true. And so I've got that passion for leadership and delivering space,
Yeah.
information in that space. But one of the things I do say is, anyone in the room here, can you tell me that you've never had an experience that made you go, "Oh, that was weird," or "I can't explain that." Right? And no one can. We've all had it, right? So we've all had some kind of experience in that space, haven't we?
Yeah, even a simple thing like deja vu, or you know how you're thinking of someone and suddenly they call you, or you
Mm.
bump into them. So it occurs so randomly and actually more often than we're aware of. But we're trained to block that out because it isn't understood. So
Yeah.
things that are not understood, we just filter it out. We're taught to filter it out. But what if that is part of your human experience, is to it's a better way of flowing. Why do
Mm.
some people's lives just flow so easily and effortlessly,
Mm.
right? You're going with the flow of the world, of life, of the universe.
Mm.
And I mean, have you ever seen birds, those big flocks of birds, and they're flying and
Yeah.
they're all synchronous. And it's like, how do they know? But
Yeah.
they know, right?
Yeah.
So, though you can't, I mean, we can scientifically explain it now, but what I'm saying is just
Yes.
because we can't explain it. I mean, how many of you actually know how microwaves work, or,
Yeah.
the telephone or whatever it
Or
is, but we
Wi-Fi.
use it?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
don't see
Wi-Fi. There you
Wi-Fi,
go.
but we believe it's there, right?
That's right. We
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in that leadership space, and I think one of the things I talk about, and obviously you understand with the RTT, is, what is and isn't familiar and how the brain reacts to that. And so something we don't understand isn't familiar, right? And the brain likes what's familiar. So it tries to rationalize that, or put it down, or make excuses, or discount it, because what's not familiar isn't safe in the brain's mind.
That's exactly right. What isn't familiar isn't safe. And our brain's whole purpose is to keep us safe so that we can survive. So if our brain perceives something as unfamiliar, and unfamiliar means unsafe, let's stay away from that. We are familiar with what we know. It may not be the best for us, but we're familiar with it. We
Mm,
understand what happens.
mm,
So part of our journey in getting to know ourselves is to actually move out of that familiar space into what's, is kind of unfamiliar, and slowly move forward in that. Because when you do that, you start unwrapping layers of yourself, and that
mm,
helps you understand yourself a lot better,
mm.
in my experience at least.
Oh, I totally agree. I think that's the number one. Like we talk about, I talk about getting to know other people and how that's really important as leaders. But I feel like the reason why I push that so much is the more we get to know other people, the more it mirrors back and we get to know more about ourselves.
Yeah, that's true. Because a lot of times we feel very lonely in things that isn't always accepted by other people, or the way we perceive people will, accept us if we're being us,
Mm,
right?
mm-hmm.
So actually pushing that boundary and saying, hey, look, this is me. This is how I'm growing, and how you interact. So people actually help us understand. It shows us our relationship, meeting people, doing things that you're uncomfortable with, and
Mm,
growing from that. It actually helps us grow as people. And human beings are very social. We need
yes.
connection and love, right?
Yeah.
So this is part of that journey.
Yeah, yeah. And, when we were doing some work together, I know you were doing a presentation on resilience, and a lot of that work in there was redefining failure, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah, that's one of my favorite topics, is redefining failure, because especially in Asian countries, we are taught to believe that if you fail, die, you're dead.
Yeah,
You're like,
true.
literally, your parents are going to scold you. And you grow up with this feel that failure is wrong. And it's very, very uncomfortable to even consider failing.
Mm,
But now, going through RTT, going through this process of life and where I'm at in my life, I find that no, we should not be afraid of failure, because even as babies, right? How does a baby walk? A baby falls like a gazillion times,
yeah.
and they don't sit there going, I'm never going to walk again. Because have you seen any human being scooting around on their bottom saying, no, it was too painful to walk, I never tried again? No. So you get up again. We are actually, our factory setting, our default setting, what we were naturally born with, is we fail, we get up. That's what we do. We get up no matter how painful. But
Mm,
somewhere along the line, we're taught that failure is wrong. And we have to unlearn that and welcome failure, because failure actually is like a gift. It's course correcting us to what we would, how we can do something better, or
mm,
it's showing us something that needs to be, where we need to grow, where we need to become better. in ourselves, but it's so uncomfortable. We've been programmed that way that it stops us from seeing that failure actually is a stepping stone to your success. And I
Yeah.
know it's a cliche, but it is.
Yeah.
When you fail, if you don't unwrap the lesson, so there's this concept called a gift in unusual wrapping.
Yeah.
And what happens is failure is one of those things. Failure is so painful that we never unwrap it because we're so uncomfortable with it. But imagine a Christmas present with an ugly wrapping paper. If you never wrap it, you will never know what's inside. And it
Mm,
could be the gift of your dreams. But if you
mm,
never unwrap it, you'll never know. And failure or disappointment or impossible, challenging situations are like that wrapping. Most of the time, we just put it away and we never examine it again
mm.
because of how painful it is. But if we actually do unwrap it, there is always, always, I promise you, a gift inside that. And that always, contributes to your growth as a person, understanding.
Mm.
And your vulnerabilities will then become your greatest strengths.
Yeah, that's so true. And, I love that example of falling over as a child, or as a baby and learning to walk. And I actually was with a group this week doing some leadership work, and we talked about, those people that are, oh, this is just me. People, they take me or they don't, like those sort of people. And it's like, what we're learning all the time. So we're starting to walk, then we're learning to feed ourselves, then we're learning to ride bikes, and then we're learning to go to school, learning high school, learning to drive cars. What, we just turned 21 and go, that's it, not learning anymore? Like, that's not what life's about, right? The whole process is a
Mhm.
learning journey and a learning process, right? That, what am I? Okay, disclosure here. I'm 46 and I'm still learning, right? I'm still in that space of learning new things and challenging myself
Yeah.
in that way.
Yes, that's absolutely true. We are constantly learning. I think, just forever. There's no time limit on it, doesn't expire. Learning just keeps going. It's a choice as you grow older. Sometimes you're not even aware that you're learning.
Yeah.
But yes, learning keeps you young also.
Yeah, I think so. Well, would you know I'm
Mm.
46? I don't know. Yeah, maybe you would. So you've done a lot of things and you work with people within that mental health space. And I know you work with people in all different ranges, and a lot of those are leaders. So what would you say if you had someone that was coming to you about recognizing their life purpose? What do you think is the best way to go about doing that?
Well, how I work with someone who's looking at their purpose is first and foremost, there's the authentic you, the person that you were born to be, as you naturally are. But as you grow up, that's layered and covered because the outside voices, whoever it may be, or culture or society, parents, adults, keep telling you, no, this is not what we want. So you
Mm,
start listening to that and you start covering up your own voice.
mm,
So when you talk about finding your purpose, the first thing is your purpose is already inside you. It's
mm.
already there. It's what you naturally do.
Love that.
So a lot of finding your purpose involves unwrapping and unlearning and uncovering
Mm,
everything that stops you from hearing who you really are. Right? That's the first thing I'd probably say. And the second thing is that um, I always start with where are you now? Who are you now? Where are you in your journey now? And then the second step I would do is where do you want to be? How do you want your life to look like?
mm,
What's your destination? What's the journey? What do you want to experience? What's important to you? What's your passion? And it isn't as easy to answer those questions as it seems. You'd
mm.
think everyone knows what they want, but no, we actually need to think about it and unwrap stuff. And then you get clearer and clearer. And then, of course, I do some RTT that,
Yes.
helps them to unblock. But after that, once you can start connecting with who you really are,
Mm.
the rest of it just explodes out, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's amazing watching people after they've had a session on just how they bloom, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like it's like you pulled
yeah.
a plug out and all of the dirty water's gone. And so it's just this shiny, bright bath, right? That's just gleaming. It's just amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, I had a very skeptical patient in one of our programs, Pathfinder, which actually deals with finding your life's purpose or what you want to do,
Hmm.
right? And he was so adamant that, there's no way he's going to find it. But we actually did an RTD session, and it's mind-boggling how it was like we took away the black screen, and
Mm.
he could feel what his home was going to look like, what his life was going to be like. And
Yeah.
I was in awe. I mean, it always amazes me at how amazing the mind and a human, spirit is, and how
Yeah.
much we don't really realize that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I have a strong belief that things happen in the energy world before they happen here. And that's, we're not that we'll go into it today, but that's the whole key behind manifestation and those sorts of things. So when you truly feel something, like that's the first step of making it a reality, isn't it?
That's true. And it's basically you're resonating at a different level. And when you resonate at a different frequency, whatever, it's like Rumi said, what you're looking for is looking for you too.
Yes. Oh, I love
You
that.
just need to
So
get out
Rumi.
of your way, let it come to you.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
yeah, and that's so true. It's just getting out of our own way. And I know that a lot of people that I work with within that leadership space, you're just so every day is just such sometimes just so full on with things coming left, right. And you would have experienced that, I'm sure, through your medical practice that we don't often get that opportunity to sit and actually find the things that are looking for us. And even it's sometimes it seems like we're swatting it out of the way, right? No, get out of the way, I've got this. And we're just so focused that we don't have an open enough mind.
I think we're trained to only look at a specific expectation in life.
Mm,
There's this expectation. It may not be who you really want to be, but it's an expectation that has come out of the experiences you've had.
mm,
But I actually had to go through a part of my journey was reaching a point in my life where I had to grieve as if I was losing a person. And that grief I realized came from I had reached a point in the numerical age of my life
yes.
where I had to let go of the expectation of what I thought my life would be like. And
Yes.
letting go, that process of letting go, I actually was grieving as if I had lost someone I loved.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but that process of actually I allowed myself for the first time to actually go through that, and when that happened, I was then ready to just, you know you wake up and you're going, okay, so I've done that. Now let's just not expect, let's just really dream again. And here's the thing, right? As a child, we're always asked, what do you want to become when you grow up? What do
Mm,
you dream of, and all these exciting ideas come up. Have you ever asked an adult who's 40 or 50, what do you dream of? But
mm,
maybe we should ask that, because what is it you want? You're a
yeah.
different person now. Why do you need to stop dreaming? You don't need to stop dreaming. You need
Mm-hmm.
to start dreaming again. What
Yeah.
is it you want? Yeah, these are the
Yeah.
best years of our lives.
Oh, yeah, and you see so many people shifting in careers and stuff around this time because I think there's so many of us that have that moment of going, "What am I doing?" Like, I'm not filled with joy, and I'm just very lucky that I had an opportunity, and well, I was pushed a little bit into starting my own business because this is what I was born to do. Like, I really feel it, and yes, there's still challenges because nothing's, that's how we learn in life, but I really sit back and I think to myself, wow, if I hadn't have dreamt, if I hadn't have imagined, if I hadn't have taken those steps and those risks, yeah, my life would have been good, but it wouldn't be great.
If you're enjoying this podcast and you want Naomi or any of her guests featured on your podcast or as a keynote speaker at your next event, you'll find their contact details included in the show notes. If you'd like to learn more about how you can work with Naomi individually or as part of your strategy to improve leadership in your business, then review the courses, offers and services at getupandgoconsulting.com.au.
Right.
Yeah, Definitely. And Naomi, honestly, you are perfect for what you do. I've worked with you and I can honestly tell you, you're exactly where you need to be.
Oh,
And you're
thank you.
just glowing with you-ness. And it's lovely to see. Honestly, it's like a light that comes. It's like when you are you,
Mm,
whoever you are, right? Truly you, there's a light that lights up inside you.
yeah,
And that starts to guide you again.
yeah,
And I think one of the things that most people is like, okay, so I want to be this, but let's keep it real. How do I ever get there? We're so focused on the how, we
mm,
don't allow the universe or the higher power or whoever you want to say, or
mm,
energy or whatever it is. You don't allow the magicness of wanting or expecting something or dreaming of something and not, getting so stuck up in the how and just allowing it to find you.
yeah.
Most of the times, that's what happens.
and and we don't know what things are setting us up for that, right? So you
Yeah.
know I went and did my psych degree, and that's where I was going to be a clinical psychologist, all aim set on that. Then I got introduced to Marissa with RTT, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to do that now. That feels like a fit. And then I'm doing my master's in business psychology, and I'm like, no, I want to work with leaders, and I still do the one-to-one stuff, and I'm still focused on that. But if I hadn't have taken that first step and done the degree, that wouldn't have led me down the paths where the other doors opened, right? If I thought, oh, there's no way I'm ever capable of being that I dream of, I wouldn't have had those experiences. And I think that's what holds a lot of leaders back, is you're right. We don't allow ourselves to dream.
That's right. And this is the time to dream because this is the time where you're an adult now. You literally can make your own decisions. You can shed what everyone, your parents, society, culture, whatever, they've all told you already. I mean, seriously, enough already. They've
Yeah.
done all that. You've listened enough.
Yeah.
Now you can focus on what do you really want to do? What's you? So
Yeah.
you're finding out. This is the time to find out, who are you? Who am I really?
Mm,
If
mm.
I was to, and it's not easy, it's scary. It's really scary. I had to
Oh,
go through
yeah.
that. Yeah, it's scary letting go of all these beliefs of who you should have been and who you're expected to be and what success looks like. Because most of the time, when people tell you what success looks like, it doesn't look like you because it isn't you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
right? So the thing
Yeah.
is, you have to find success. Your success looks exactly like you, authentically being you. So no one can tell you how that looks like because there's no one like you. And
Yes.
that's the whole issue. I literally had to go through that because everyone in my life was successful and I felt less than when I looked around and I was like, subconsciously this thought was there that that's what success looks like. And then the second thought was, oh, if that looks like success, that's not me. I'll never be that.
Yeah.
Right? So I had to let go of that and realize my success is going to look like me. It's going to look like the way I carve it out to be because
Yeah.
it's my life. So I stopped reading everybody else's storybooks and
Yeah.
started writing my own.
Yeah. And, that's great for the listeners to hear as well, because I mean, you're a doctor, right? So that some people go, that's successful. But you're right. When you're in society, you look to those other cues to try and determine whether you are or aren't. And I mean, I think you're super successful. I think you're a superstar,
Oh,
but
thanks.
we can rub each other's heads and backs, because
Yeah.
I think that's
Keep
the
going, Naomi.
yeah,
Don't stop.
don't stop. But
Yeah.
that's the beauty of, even if I didn't go down this path, the people I've met on the journey are
Mm,
part,
well worth it.
80% of the joy that I get is just from those people I've met, and so
Yeah.
so we're talking now about, becoming who we dream to be and who we want to be. So how do you think, or how could you suggest to people, how would they assess if they're becoming who they want to be?
Are you happy? That's the first thing. Are
No.
you truly, truly inner happy? And you, how do you know, right? How do you know? You just close your eyes and sit down and really just calm yourself or take yourself into, just go on a walk where it's calm and peaceful
Mm,
and just sit down in that quiet. You will find the answers to what you're seeking. And I would say start with the question, am I happy?
mm,
And then be open to listening to the truth. Is it a yes or is it a no? Because for a long time, I was very scared to ask that question because I was terrified the answer was going to be no.
Yeah.
It was no.
You already knew, right? You already knew the answer was
Yeah.
no.
So
Yeah.
the thing is, what happened was I was so scared of asking the question, I literally had to be burnt out before I
Yeah.
was forced to ask the question.
Yeah.
And then, thankfully, I'm happy with the answer. You will be happy with the answer because you get to be you. And isn't that the simplest thing?
Yeah.
Your success means you get to be more you, more authentically you. And that's the easiest thing for you to do is actually just to be you.
Mm,
Learn more about yourself, know yourself, accept yourself, accepting your vulnerabilities and your strengths and understanding you're a spectrum. You're not all bad or all good. You're just a person with a human experience and a whole bunch of stuff, some making you cry, some making you happy. But
mm,
it's
mm.
accepting you and loving you. And that's not easy to do.
Yeah.
That takes time. And for me, it took RTT.
And you're right. And I think the biggest thing RTT taught me was around enoughness.
Yeah.
That's a lot that holds, I don't know about you, but my clients that come, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter what they present. Deep down
Yeah.
in that subconscious, there's something that comes up about enoughness. And you're right. And when you said before, we're programmed with all of this stuff that makes us need to prove something. So we're always trying to prove something so we can be enough when really me sitting here is freaking enough, right?
Yeah. It's amazing.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It
Yeah.
is. And that concept, I am enough.
Mm,
I'm more than enough. I've always been enough. I will always be enough. And that's something that isn't taught in schools or, consciously programmed. It's not something that we know offhand, like, right? But you will find that as you grow that journey of life, that path that you're taking, it leads you to that. That's part of your journey is
mm,
finding out you are enough. I
yes.
mean, you are put on this planet to be you. Everyone needs to get out of your way so you can just be you,
Push them
but in a
aside.
good way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bump them off. Yeah. And
Swat away, everyone.
yes, what the but that's what life, in our early years, that's what life does, right? It just keeps reaffirming that we're not enough. We're laughed at
Yeah.
when we take a risk or we fall over or this happens, or then we're teenagers and something doesn't go right and people are going, you didn't do the right thing, you should have, or whatever's happening. There's just all this stuff that compounds and, like you said, covers us and our purpose with not enoughness until we get to that point where we're like, I can't do this anymore. Like,
Yeah.
I need to, and then we have this blooming space of where we come out and realize that we are enough just how we present.
Yeah. But here's how I would put it. You can take a diamond and you can cover it with the yuckiest mud and yuck as much as you want.
Yeah.
That does not mean the diamond doesn't exist. It's
Yeah.
still there.
Yeah.
And that's you. You're still there. You just have to realize that you have to wash away the mud and the not enoughness. You
Yeah.
have to realize that you're covered and that you're amazing just the way you are.
Mm, yeah. I just wish so many more people had that truth come through for them. Um,
Well, I think that anybody who is ready or looking for something or is unhappy, so all the unhappy people out there, good job, because
yes,
that unhappiness is going to prompt you to look for happiness.
it's that
It's going to
catalyst, isn't it?
prompt you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to prompt you. It's like your life is like the universe loves you enough to keep you, to make sure that you have this little prompter called unhappiness because it is telling you to look inside.
Mm,
It's just that we're scared with that feeling. So
mm,
if you're unhappy, Naomi and I here to say that we've all felt that. We've all
yes.
been there, and it's
Yeah.
scary as hell looking inside, but go ahead and do it
Yeah.
because um it's worth it.
Oh, 100%. And you'll be
Yeah.
amazed at what you find when you look in there, and the pride that you can have for yourself when you actually realize that you're freaking awesome, right?
Yeah, exactly. But it is painful, so we're not going to lie to you. There's
Oh,
lots
yeah.
of tears and pain, and you know, healing is never a straight line. It's a backwards, forwards, a chaotic thing. But
Yes.
as long as you're moving in a direction that propels you towards happiness, true, authentic happiness, hearing your own true voice, finding that voice, you're on the right path.
Yeah. Yeah. Very much. So, Kavitha, I have a couple of standard questions that I ask all my guests.
Sure. Go.
And we're already aligned a little on the way we think. So you're going to get me
Yeah.
and why I ask these questions, right? But one of them is about obstacles, and my belief is that an obstacle often gives us an opportunity, like you were just saying then, like unhappiness gives us space to go within, right? And sometimes obstacles give us that strength and that connection inward to help to keep us going. Can you tell me about an obstacle you've been through that's actually helped you strengthen your own inner connection?
I've had many obstacles in my life. As a child, I shifted countries, and um, from a country that I was very happy in and accepted in, I
Yeah.
suddenly was in a country that did it was foreign to me for a very long time, and everything I naturally did was wrong. So that was probably it's a small thing. Children move all the time, but for
Yeah.
me, it became it formed the way I would be insecure a lot of the
Yes.
time. So that was one of the biggest things I had to work on. And so many different things in my life have happened that have I call myself the world's slowest recoverer of pain. Some problems took me years. You'd be amazed. But the thing is, I think what really got me through the obstacles is the fact that I was determined to
Yeah.
find a way out of it and to be more. I wanted more for me.
Mm.
And I think that just kept pushing me and falling and pushing me. So I
Yeah.
was a baby again, learning how to walk
Yes.
through obstacles. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you can't jump over it, you crawl under it, you smash through it. If you can't do that, you do anything to get through that.
Yeah. Yeah. Crawling
Yeah,
through, hitting your head as you get up. You know, you think you're out,
yeah,
you're not.
bruised
Yeah.
and battled, you know,
Yeah.
like a warrior going through that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. Um, so my next question then is I also believe that the challenges that we face in life are things to be grateful for. And we don't always think so all the time because they can really be upsetting, create all of those unhelpful emotions, all those things that come through, but they're gifts. If, like you said before, if you can unwrap them, then there will be a gift. So do you have a challenge that you overcome that at the time you were like, meh, but later on you're like, oh, I'm actually got some gratitude for that?
Well, definitely. So, some time ago, just before the RTT, I was challenged. See, I went through certain things in life that prevented me from specializing at a specific period in my life. And if you asked anybody who knew me in med school, they'd be like, this, I mean, of course she's going to,
Yes.
right? But
Yes.
something happened in life and I just didn't,
Yep.
right? I was too busy trying to survive life.
Yes.
You could
Yeah.
put it that way, right?
Get it.
So I ran into this boss who was constantly putting me down because I had gotten so comfortable avoiding everything that challenged me, right? Too busy trying to survive life again. Remember, that's me.
Yes.
So along comes this boss that puts me down to the point that I don't get why I'm being put down. And it, when you push someone so dramatically and painfully, I reached a point where I decided I have to do something about this.
Yeah.
And that's where I decided I'm either going to do specialize in diabetes or I'm going to, RTT popped up at that moment. And
Mm,
I was like, well, this really resonates with me. Let me do RTT first and then come back and see what I want to do next in the field of medicine in
mm,
that sense. So for me, at that point when this doctor was pushing me down and really, really, really badly dissing me and making me feel like dirt,
mm,
I hated it. I thought I would never survive that. But because of her, because of that person, I mean, now looking back at it, that's what propelled me. That's what
yeah.
that pain, that putting downness, that really bad, I don't know, I can't even describe how painful that was, but
Yeah.
what she did literally propelled me towards the path that, of making that choice of doing more.
Mm.
And that's why I'm here. So, yes, I am
Yay for her.
grateful for that.
Yay for
Yeah,
her. Yeah.
I know, right? Haha, now the joke's on you.
Yeah. Love it. Yeah. Have you seen me now?
Yeah, exactly.
I often think that, right? Like I try not to be too egotistical, although we've all got an ego, right? It's just harnessing it rather than letting us control us. But I think to myself, those people that said I'd amount to nothing, or the teachers when they like, you just spend too much time talking. I remember in high school in science, the teacher actually had a desk outside ready for me, right? So I'd go in. So as soon as he'd start, he'd look around, he'd catch me talking. He goes, Gnomes out, or Naomi outside. And I spent science in the whole of high school on a desk outside by myself, right? And I wonder if like these people now see me pop up in places and just either think I always knew she had it in her and they were actually doing it to propel me, or they think, whoa, I never thought she'd end up there, right? Like it would be interesting
Yeah,
to go back and see these people that did push us or suppress us or do all those things
yeah.
if they actually realize how much impact they had positively on our lives without realizing it.
Yeah. So a lot of those people unintentionally are projecting their own trauma or their own inner problems out onto someone. So they may they may be triggered by your chattiness, which is a natural behavior for a child
Yeah.
most of the time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
thing is, they don't realize it at that time. They're probably on their own journey of, uncovering their own whatever they're going through.
Mm,
But that's why teachers are so important, is they have an impact on a student more
yes.
than they will ever realize.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, very true. So my last question, Kavitha, is when you were talking about that connection within a self, I've found that the more time I spend on that, the more enough I feel, which is just amazing. But also the more I feel comfortable, guided, trusting what's happening, all of those sorts of things that get me to that next step. So, do you have any daily, weekly, or monthly practices that you do to strengthen your connection with your inner self?
By pausing.
Yeah,
By
no.
pausing. It's just by pausing, by stopping everything and just, I've had times when I'm very uncomfortable just being with me
Yeah.
in silence. So I had to learn how to be okay being uncomfortable and realizing it's okay to pause and just not do anything
Yeah.
for a while to get comfortable with just being me. I think that's the first thing. And the second thing would probably be breathing.
Mm,
Helped me just by slowing down the breathing,
yeah.
helped me to get into that space of the pause,
Mm,
right? And our breathing is very linked to our emotions.
yes.
And so you can use that connection. The more emotional you get, you can literally use that link. And by calming down your breathing, you can start readjusting your emotions. And the third thing I would honestly say is the fact that understanding that emotions are showing me are little signs or emails that my mind is sending me that, hey, look, this is bothering you in some way. You need to look inside. Something's going on. So they were, recognizing that,
Yeah.
right? I went through this period where I was angry, just literally angry at everything.
Yeah.
And I did not even realize that I didn't have to be angry, that
Yes.
I thought that was like there was no way I was going to change that. So the pause, the breathing, and understanding that anger is actually a
A
bodyguard for a
messenger.
vulnerable
Yeah.
emotion. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
And
understanding that, that started me on, to really. So it's checking in with yourself and,
yeah.
just say, hey, what's going on in me. How am I actually feeling? Why am I feeling like that? What's this trying to tell me? What's this emotional email trying to tell me? What's in the letter? What's in the email? Open it.
Yeah. And I love you saying that, because that really connects with, a lot of this work that I do with my clients of, pushing through and ignoring the messages. They're going to come. They're just going to be in more explosive ways. If you're not getting them at a subtle level, old mate or the universe or whatever you believe in is still going to give them to you. It's just going to come in
Yeah.
a bigger way, right? So I love that. Just taking the time just
Yeah.
to check in with self. That's gold.
That's exactly right. Because checking in and that's part of the process of reconnecting to yourself.
Yeah.
It's and when you reconnect with yourself, you're grounding yourself in the knowledge that you're put here to be you.
Mm.
You're put here because someone or something or the universe or a higher power actually wanted you here.
Yes.
You chose to be here. So
Yeah.
you're exactly who you're meant to be,
Yeah.
even though, however you are, you're meant to be this,
Mm.
you. And you have a gift that is uniquely yours to
Mm.
contribute to mankind or to people or anything. I don't know. But
Yeah.
you get to find that out. For a long time, I thought there's nothing in me. I've got no gift. Everybody has a gift.
Yeah.
But not only do I like talking,
You have so many gifts, but you're right. We don't see them, do we?
yeah. No, you know how you said you were chatty?
Yes.
One of the first kindergarten teachers I've ever had said the
Yeah.
same thing. She's a chatterbox. She doesn't stop.
Maybe that's why we connect, Kavitha. We've had the
Yeah.
same trauma of being told we talk too much, but now it's our superpower, right? Being able to connect with
Yeah.
people and help
Yeah.
people. And you know, talking when you were saying about being here and meant to have been here, I had a potential client I was speaking with the other day. I'm not sure if she'll come in and work with me, but we were talking, and she was in a car accident at 4 years old and lost her whole family in that car accident. And she feels like that set up a lot of trauma for her. And the first thing I said is, will someone want to hear? Right. And she actually got thrown through the windscreen of the car and still survived this accident. And she said, well, I don't know. I haven't done anything magnificent. And I said to her, look, sometimes just smiling at the right person at the right time is exactly what old mate needs from you. Right. And that person then goes and smiles at someone else, or, paying for someone shopping at Christmas if they're struggling. And then when they're on their feet, they go and do the same thing. And it's anything we do that can pay forward and create a ripple of kindness. I reckon old mate's up there going, worth you being there. It doesn't have to be big, bold
Definitely.
things, right?
Yeah. So the thing is, when you're in that much pain, and trust me, I've gone through that, right? Pain, right? I
Yes.
think all of us have to different extent. Pain is a very contractive, energetically, it's very contractive. You're very contracted.
Yes.
So trying to get out of that because you're so focused, you're so contracted within yourself, you cannot see beyond that. If you can just jump out, just run from it, just run if you have to, go volunteer in a soup kitchen or smile at someone, or literally just do something to break out of that, or dance
Yeah.
in the rain, for God's sake, seriously.
Yes. Yeah.
You just have to do something that would put a smile on your face, right?
Mm,
That is a success story for the day. It
mm,
really is. And
yeah.
some days, that's a good success story to have.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very true. So tell me, are you working on any projects at the moment? Did you want to share anything about some projects you have going on at the moment, Kavitha?
Right. So at Bohdi Mind, I finally found my core team and we're growing in that sense. And
Yay.
Bohdi Mind, Bohdi basically means the word awaken.
Yes.
And what it symbolizes is that part of you that awakens and realizes there's this authentic person inside, and letting go and breaking free from everything that's holding you back, that's held you back, held you down. So
Yeah.
you can go out there and start living your best life as your
Mm,
truest person. And so that's what Bodhi Mind actually signifies. And besides RTT, and I love RTT, I really do. I'm addicted to breaking addictions. I'm addicted to literally just helping people transform their lives. I love that.
Yeah,
But
same.
also we have a Pathfinder program which helps people who are looking for more, who aren't happy where they are, or, who know there's more to life than that, and all the unique little gifts that make them, but they don't know how to get to where they are, or they don't have a clear vision of what they want, but they know there's more.
Mm,
Come find me, because we have Pathfinder for you.
yes. Look her up. And how would they find you if they wanted to find you?
I'm on LinkedIn, and also, yeah, I'm on LinkedIn basically. Uh, you can find me on LinkedIn as Dr. Parvathi Kavitha, and or you could just reach out to Naomi and she'll connect you to me.
Sure. And I'll have some contacts in the show notes as well, so
Yeah,
you can reach out through
right.
that. So, Dr.
Yeah.
Kavitha, my wonderful friend, thank you so much for taking the time to come on today. It's been great having you on the show.
Oh, it's always fun working with you, Naomi. Seriously. I'm in awe of your energy and your strength and your light, and I love working with you.
Well, let's continue that as we grow,
Yeah.
hey?
Right. And to everybody out there, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever part of your life you are, realize that if you are not happy, there's a you inside there that's prompting that. Find yourself. You are the hero they're waiting for you to rescue
Yes.
you.
I love it.
Yay, and have fun and dream big, people.
Thanks, Kavitha. Thanks for joining in and listening to this episode of Catching the Octopus podcast. It's been great having you here. And if you'd like to go and like and subscribe and maybe even leave a 5-star rating if you think it's worth it, I'd really appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you in our next episode.